Have y'all heard of a talking mongoose before? If not, listen to this episode of the Paranormal Mind podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Paranormal Mind podcast. How's everybody doing? Why are y'all looking at y'all are looking at me like you're zombies? What's going on?
We're just waiting on you to get done.
Yeah.
What?
We're just waiting on you.
Waiting on me to do what?
To do your intro. You do it every time.
What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody?
God, y'all suck so bad. You know that?
Oh, yeah.
It is so tough.
It's all with
Being
love, my guy. It's all with love.
You do the same thing on all the lives, too, when we start the lives. You're like, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Shane Pittman.
It's
We're
your boy,
live.
Shane.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on.
It's
Wait a
your
minute.
boy.
Hold on a minute.
Boy.
Hold on a minute. I never say it's your boy. Okay.
It's
That is
implied.
a lie.
It's implied.
That is a lie.
That part's implied.
You may not say it, but we think it.
Yeah, we feel it.
Y'all suck. It's so bad. Listen, I just try to include everybody. And why is there bugs flying around over here?
The moth.
And they're always around Ray. Why is that?
Because I smell like poop.
He doesn't even try to hide it.
Damn.
Yeah,
At least you're honest.
I think they're falling from the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
But anyway, welcome to the podcast. This is, if you can't tell, it's not as structured as what a lot of podcasts are, I guess.
If you ever asked us to be structured, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
Right off the bat.
I think really we just shoot the shit and we want to include y'all in on it. This is how we talk even off camera, and it's ridiculous. And
But it's fun.
Thank God that we cut it to like
Oh my
30 to 45 minutes, or else y'all would be in for
Yeah.
a treat.
And then some of the things we'd say, you'd be like, Jesus Christ.
Be like, are these guys even for real?
What did they say?
What did he say?
Ray, why are you?
He's
Why are
encouraging me
you?
now.
Why are you encouraging Josh?
He just gives
What?
me a little nod.
Because it was the perfect time to use it.
It was. It's true. You need a soundboard too.
I do.
Oh man, we'd be in trouble because your soundboard would be completely different than this preloaded soundboard.
Hail
There-
Satan.
Yeah, there'd be like Hell, Satan, and Take Me From This Earth, and what else? There'd be some other weird shit.
Some of them.
I will not speak about women. What else?
Some of them can't be said on air.
Oh, I know. You are a dark soul.
Hey, speaking of dark souls, what's the status of being abducted by aliens?
I'm still trying. I'm omitting the signals into the universe, but
You are the first person ever that I've seen that they want to be probed.
it'd be fun.
It'd be fun.
It wouldn't be the worst thing that's happened to
He's
me.
like, at least
Oh,
take me out
God.
on a date first.
Yeah.
Then it's fine.
No, I don't think he'd want a date.
No, you don't even,
No, he'd just be like, "Hey,
You don't-
go
you
do
don't
it."
even got to know my name.
Not even, not even
call
a,
me call me
not even
whatever
a
you
last
want.
name
No,
basis.
No,
It's like whatever.
Tell me what you want,
yeah,
Daddy.
call me whatever you want. Choke me.
This is
devil
okay.
daddy.
Hold on, stop.
Choke me, ye devil daddy.
All right, this is disturbing. Good Lord. I apologize to all of you in advance for anything that's said on this podcast.
I apologize to absolutely
No
nobody.
one. Yeah, I know. You're such a badass. hey, if y'all watched 28 Days Haunted, let's talk about that for a minute.
Oh.
Okay? 28 Days Haunted. 28 Days Haunted. I'm not what everybody talks about on 28 Days Haunted. But we'll talk about, and we've mentioned this a couple of times.
Misogyny.
No, not misogyny. Not misogyny, okay? But this is ridiculous. So people thought that, like me and Ray had something against Amy, right? Which, no, it's fine. It's whatever. But me and Ray had a lot against each other throughout the entire 28 days. And Josh, whenever he watched the show, Josh knows.
I knew already.
Josh knows because we all hang out with each other, so we know how this stuff goes. But Ray, like, tends to think, especially like with certain meat, like if you leave it in a refrigerator.
Oh my God, with the meat thing.
If you leave it in a refrigerator for more than 3 days, if it's like the 4th or 5th day, it's still fine to cook. Me, on the other hand, if I see like a dark brown spot on pork chops, I don't want to consume it. It's just one of those things where I don't want to take the risk. Whenever somebody tells me, oh, it should be fine, that tells me do not eat. Like milk.
The thing is like the only reason it had those spots on it was because like there was other stuff sitting on top
of it.
Yeah.
And it discolored it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There was nothing wrong with it. But I threw it away because we didn't have to pay for shit.
Yeah, that's true. That was one of the perks is like we had a grocery list that
and we would just put it through the slot.
Yep.
And then the next morning there would
be
a
there.
Bunch of like it was amazing. You can put whatever you want because remember I convinced you to use the same body wash I was using and then you got some and then you fucking left it open and all of it leaked out overnight and then you didn't have body wash again like a day later and you had to order more.
Yeah, but you know what? What was cool about it is they ordered more. Yeah. It was really cool. We felt
and then
like
you and
stars.
Amy were drinking your fucking Starbucks every day and I was drinking a shit ton of Bangs.
Well, yeah. Good God, you went through like 4 12-packs in like 3 days, maybe.
Listen,
Bro,
it was.
How do you even go off of that much caffeine? That's insane.
It was. You got to think like you're bored as fuck.
Yeah.
All day long, like there is nothing to do.
So you're just drinking them.
I read 30 something books and like was just like. I mean, I read like The Great Gatsby in like 4.5 hours. Like,
yeah, didn't you read a novel? It was over 1,000 pages.
Yeah, I read the biography, the Jim Jones biography, Raven. I read that shit in like 3 days, and it was just like, boom. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I packed like 10 of my own books, and then I found a bunch of books in the library while we were there, and it's like I just blew through them, and it was like, oh my God, I don't have anything left to do. So then like if you wake up, your shit doesn't start till the sun goes down. Realistically, you can do some stuff, and you can kind of stay busy or whatever, but like.
It was the same stuff over and over.
The meat and potatoes does not start till the sun goes down. You can't do any cool shit until the sun goes down. So it's like you wake up. There's no sleeping in because it's so fucking bright. There's no clouds.
Well, and
Colorado has perfect weather every fucking day.
Yeah, and we didn't have clocks either. So you would wake up when the sun came up, and you're like, okay, it's got to be 8, 9 o'clock. It would be what?
Fucking
6?
7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you just lay in bed and do nothing for 4 hours and then finally get up, do your thing.
Or you'd be like Aaron G. Thompson and like do push-ups in underwear.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I did try to work out, but it was like pointless.
That's a good point. Like, you never really understand how different your life becomes whenever you don't have any of your normal day-to-day things.
That was the hardest part. Like, I know me and you, Ray, like after 5 days, we were ready to just go home.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the first time away from our family for that long consecutively. Then it was the monotonous
same thing every day.
Day in, day out, same bullshit.
And like, I know me and you got into a lot of arguments where you'd be like, well, tonight let's try doing this with this. And I'm like, it's the same fucking thing, man. Like, you can call it 100 different things, but all we're doing is using the same shit in the same way because like people don't understand, like we were stuck. Whatever we brought
is what you had.
Is what we had for a month. You know how hard it is to come up with 28 days worth of experiments with fucking 7 pieces of equipment total,
Well, and that was the misconception with the whole mirror scrying thing that we were talking about with Amy. So that's a good segue into that. Like, there was only so many different experiments that we could do in the time period that we had. So all we were trying to do was think of different experiments that we could do that would highlight Amy and her abilities. So whenever we were saying, well, why won't you do mirror scrying? It wasn't like, oh, you better do this or else.
Right.
It was like, well, let's try this because this will highlight you and what you can do and what you can bring also to the table. Because we wanted the entire team to succeed for those 28 days. So we were just trying to figure out what we could do to make it work.
Both of you try it?
Yeah, we both.
Yeah, and they cut that, of course.
Yeah, of course they cut it out. But yeah, I mean, fuck,
But-
I did mirror scrying first.
Yeah,
And I sat there for like two fucking hours.
Yeah, for 2 hours. And you had a candle in front of you as well.
Yeah.
So it was like a candle mirror scry type experiment. But I know, like, and you can't really pay attention to social media comments because there's a lot of people that just, they don't want to understand. They just want to interject, which I get it. You know, it is what it is. But
you can only, and that's the thing is like, you can only comment on what you saw. You can't say, well, I wonder what happened in between.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about what they didn't show.
Right. Well, and there was a lot of people saying, well, you know, y'all are trying to make Amy do this. Well, why don't y'all do it? It's like,
we did.
Well, we did.
Everything,
multiple times.
every fucking thing that you could think of, we did it. And we did it 100 fucking times over.
Yeah.
We did Estes method. We did fucking double Estes method.
Or as I would say, Estes.
We did. We even did the fucking Gonsfeld, and they never once showed any of that shit.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So for those of you who have seen 28 Days Haunted, there was a tunnel. You know, that place was creepy as shit, but there was a tunnel there at the Lumber Baron Inn. And so we did the Gonsfeld and to set it up, and I had Ray set up down there. And this is why I wish they would have shown more of the investigation stuff, because I left Ray in there by himself. He didn't know that he was by himself. I left him there over an hour, or 45 minutes to an hour, by himself, doing the Gonsfeld with a camera stationed on him in the creepiest part of the entire place. And they didn't show it. And, you know, that's one thing that I regret about it is like, if they would have shown all of the methods that we tried to get the communication, and thankfully I had dreams, and thankfully I had experiences that y'all were able to see. But if you saw the methods and even the evidence that we
and look, and that's another thing that really, really irks me is that me and you spent 3 to 4 hours a day setting at a table, planning out what we were going to do, and reviewing the evidence from the night before.
And they don't show it.
And they don't show any of that shit. Like, people think that we were just there with our fucking thumbs up our asses, not doing anything. But like, we
were putting in the work.
We were working our tails off. We investigated a minimum of 7 to 8 hours a night.
Yep.
Every day.
Well, and we were making the plans, but not just the plans. We were reviewing evidence for hours too.
Yeah.
But, you know, everybody that, you know, followed us through searchers, you know, one of the big takeaways that everybody will say is that we put like 2,000% into everything we do. So they know that, you know, if you guys are doing something, it's going to be the best that y'all can give. And I wish that everybody outside of the searchers, supporters, and followers saw that too. And you know, of course I knew that as well. It's like, you're not going to go in there. I mean, it's why you stayed the whole time. Right. You could have easily just come home.
If you think that what you saw in that show is what we did for 672 hours, you are a fucking idiot.
So, you know, as a
don't mince words.
I mean, I'm just saying, we were on the clock 24/7 for 28 days. If you think for 1 second that all I did was climb out of a fucking tunnel in 28 days, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I spent the majority of my time doing whatever would work.
Well, people don't realize too, like when Ray is talking about we were on the clock 24/7, we were filmed while we were going to sleep. We had cameras in whenever we would get out of the shower or whatever. Cameras were there all the time.
There is raw footage of my balls.
Same.
Because I forgot so many times
Same here.
that there was a camera in that room, and I would hop out of the shower and just be drying my hair and fucking...
Yep. That's another show.
In 28 days on it, it's bound to happen.
Right.
But you know, again, as a producer, as a cinematographer, I can't express enough the importance of making sure that what you're filming is going to be enough, but not too much to get the story across. And
Right.
they failed to do that in this show because they filmed every team for 28 days.
And then crammed it into 3.5 hours.
Exactly.
And I hate that for all
enough.
3 teams because I know just from talking to the other 2 teams that like we all could have had our own season. I mean,
Absolutely.
like if I wasn't actively investigating, I was filming someone else actively investigating. I held that camera because there were no cameramen.
There were no cameramen.
There was
and
nobody
there was
in that house.
There was a lot of people saying, "Well, why is the camera moving?" Y'all don't, and I get it. You don't understand. It was state of the
really high tech thing.
Yeah, it was state of the art technology. We had robotic cameras
that moved with us.
There was like 12 to 14 of them all throughout the location, and they would move. There was a control room that was off site that they
Followed
would
us
they would
nonstop.
follow they would move a joystick or whatever the hell they did. And they would follow our every move.
And anytime you saw, like, I know it didn't show it too much, but like I would be carrying around a backpack with like a
transmitter,
a wireless transmitter.
Yep.
So the whole time I'm holding the camera, it's wirelessly transmitting all of this material so that they can have it on a hard drive. So it's like I'm carrying this fucking 50-pound backpack.
It was tough.
It was ridiculous.
It was tough.
And like I'm climbing in and out of this fucking tunnel over and over again with this transmitter on my back.
Yeah, because you had to get the shot right.
Yeah.
So and they radio in and they tell you, okay, well, we need a shot again.
Yeah.
So
do it again.
And then you got to do it. So kudos to Ray for all of the work that he did. We were really in the trenches doing the evidence stuff. Because Amy is the medium, she was more just picking up the stuff, but all of the technical things we were reviewing because that was the stuff that we set up as far as the experiments.
we had so much equipment that was not shown, and that's another thing that irks me. And I know we need to give a shout out because like a good friend of mine, Nick, who you guys probably have seen on Ink Master.
Oh yeah,
he was on the 2nd season of Ink Master. He loaned us a fucking gnarly piece of equipment to use, and we use that motherfucker like almost every day.
It was a portal, and it was cool as shit.
And that thing was badass.
Yep.
And like Nick was gracious enough to fucking let us rent it and use it the whole time we were filming, and we used it constantly. And they didn't show it at all, which sucks. And I understand that they had to edit it and all that, but like.
But we got evidence with it.
We got evidence with it. We used that motherfucker so much, and it was such a unique thing that not everyone was using.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing too. Is like again, if you saw all of the evidence that we did get, even though it didn't push the story forward, which I understand how editing works and how that is, you have to add things in that pushes the story forward, and you have to cut. Even if it's good stuff, you have to cut the things that's just fluff, right? Or that would be considered fluff for the story. That was the same with Holzer Files. We had a lot of different really cool evidence that never made it to air because it didn't push the story forward. So,
my take is on that though, as a cinematographer, and I've said it to other producers before, it's not. Yeah, having a great story is what you need, but there's also 100 different ways to tell the same story.
True.
Yep.
That is absolutely true, especially when you have over 600 hours of footage for one team.
Yeah.
So, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, to pigeonhole yourself into one single storyboard is stupid because you got a starting point, then you have an idea of what your ending point is going to be. There's 100 different avenues you could take to get there.
Yeah. So shout out to Nick for your awesome equipment.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If you guys are in the area, he's got a tattoo shop in Brunswick, Georgia called Black Lotus. Go check it out. Get some fucking him and his wife both do
some great
gnarly.
I'm always seeing their artwork. It's
now
great.
on
and
the
if
flip
you see
side
all three
of
us, we got tattoos galore. So we know when tattoos are good or not.
Yeah. And now on the flip side of that, we also had some equipment that sucked and didn't work half the time.
Yeah. And
we won't mention those names.
We won't shout that out.
But they didn't like the show. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, that's because their stuff that was broken, didn't make air.
Didn't make the cut because their shit didn't work.
Yeah. And another
what are you supposed to do at that point?
Another thing I wanted to bring up too is when Ray was talking about we were on 24/7. I don't think y'all realize, like, as soon as we woke up,
You had to put a mic pack on.
You had to put a mic pack on right away. So
after doing that themselves, by the way.
Yeah, we have to mic ourselves. So basically, any sense of privacy that you think that we would have, none.
Yeah, because if you forget to turn that mic pack off,
they tell you right away.
They will hear you pissing. They will hear you shitting. They will hear you farting, your stomach. Because I'm going to tell you what.
Bitching about pork chops.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, for the first week that we were there, the difference in the environment was so bad that I had the worst allergies known to man.
You were sniffing.
I was sniffing nonstop.
It's like you were a cokehead or something. Yeah.
Because Colorado is so much different than Georgia that I was struggling for a week. I was like, what the fuck, man? I cannot stop.
Elevation.
Yeah.
You know what's sad about all of it too? We weren't able to explore Colorado.
Yeah.
So we weren't able to explore it all. After the 28 days,
we had one night.
We had one night where, for the first time, I was so proud of Ray because he was so strict on his diet, and he was eating fucking almonds and barely.
I was trying to eat almonds, but they were being fed to the fucking squirrels.
All right, hold up. You know what? Let's talk about that. So, all right.
Okay, I'll tell it.
This might be a 28 days haunted episode.
Fuck
but let's
the
talk
talking
about
mongoose.
Yeah,
we're
going to still talk about that though.
Look, so like we said earlier, everybody got their groceries. So you got to put what you wanted on your groceries, and I was like, I want fucking almonds, I want peanut butter, I want fucking Catalina Crunch,
all the shit anybody else wouldn't eat.
Yeah,
right.
I was like, I want this. This is my shit.
Yeah.
And I cooked every night. That's another thing they didn't show is I cooked for everybody every night.
And thank God, or I would have been eating cereal for 28 days.
I made Shane fucking protein fucking pancakes all the time.
That thing was bigger than Ray's head. And
I made him like a fucking 1 foot diameter pancake, and it was fucking banging. But so I ordered I was like, I want some peanuts, I want some almonds, I want some walnuts, I want all different kind of nuts because it's a good.
Oh, you did.
No, wrong one. No.
Oh,
What did he say?
you got there.
God, after the 5th one,
Yeah,
you have one job, Josh.
the joke is gone. But I was like, because it's because we would get these few little breaks where I was like, all right, well, we're gonna take a second, reset, and then start a new experiment. So it's I'd go in there and fucking eat some peanuts or eat some almonds or whatever. I'd throw some nuts in my mouth,
What did he say?
So then come to find out,
I throw some nuts in my mouth.
Amy, who again we had no quarrels. Other than a few, the one that you saw on the which wasn't even a quarrel.
Who out of context?
Who gives a shit about a mirror? Okay,
it wasn't that fucking serious. We didn't give 2 shits about that fucking mirror. Fuck that mirror.
And this is an explicit episode. We're cussing quite a bit.
Yeah, there's gonna be quite a few.
You can't tell. There's a lot of
pent up aggression because I have been drug through the mud for no reason. Other than the fact that people saw me on a TV show for 30 minutes total out of the 672 hours, and you just assume that I'm some sort of misogynistic piece of shit.
Which is
insane.
The furthest from the truth. I mean,
right, because my wife beats me all the time, and she makes me do it. She makes me do everything. I do everything around the house. All right, I cook, I clean, I fucking do all the laundry.
She's got you trained well.
Yeah, she turned a hoe into a housewife. So anyways, back to my peanuts. So apparently,
your what?
My peanut.
Oh, okay. You got to pronounce it. Don't you raise your eyebrows at me? What the hell was that?
This was my chair. What do you want from me?
So apparently, to make a long story longer, Amy was feeding the local wildlife my fucking food the whole time.
And what was the most hilarious thing about that is
I was like, why?
Ray was like, oh, why are you feeding that squirrel my peanuts? And she's like, she had a handful and she's like, well, I'm eating some too. And Ray just did a slow, like, we were sitting on the bench. We were sitting on the bench outside, and Ray just slowly put his head back on the bench, and I could see like literal smoke coming out of his ears.
Because again, you guys have to understand that, yeah, we could get groceries, but we didn't know when, we didn't know how.
And it wasn't, it was the last week.
It was towards the end. So it was like, and it's even like I said, I was like, look, we're at the end of filming. So of course, all right, first of all, you're at the end of filming. So you've been away from your family for 21 days, 22 days, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you haven't had contact with your family. You don't know what the fuck is going on in the real world. You are tired. You are exhausted. You have been investigating. You have been doing all of this shit. And now you are on the trail end of this where you have a finite amount of resources left, and they're not going to keep spending money on you because they've already gotten pretty much the meat and potatoes they're going to get from you.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the little bit of shit that I had left, I was portioning it out to make it last the rest of the time.
Well, you know, and of course, I've known Ray for a long time. Ray ain't going to have a bunch of shit to begin with. He's going to have what he needs, and that's pretty much it. So if you take what he needs, that he's going to literally be without.
Well, and especially during this, like, I know, Ray, you were on a very strict diet.
Exactly.
Workout regimen, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, like Josh is saying, like, it was very limited on.
And that's another thing
resources.
that disappoints me is that I had a fucking gnarly six-pack the whole time we were filming, and it didn't get shown at all because, like, it showed you in the fucking in the, whatever that shit was called, the salt.
The tank? Yeah, where I look like a puffer fish. Yeah, I know what you're getting at. Shut the hell up, okay?
So, like,
I get it.
They show you in the sleep deprivation tank or whatever, and, like, you know, you looked a little fluffy.
Yeah.
Because of the angle. I'll give you that. It was the angle for sure, which I did frame that picture. It is on.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yeah. I sent
You
the
have
picture.
you have it framed in your house?
I framed it, and it's on, yeah.
Oh, you suck.
Oh, yeah, it's framed and on the wall, buddy. Right next to the Paranormal Mind poster. And
it was the absolute worst angle ever. And it was like, can't y'all like walkie-talk, radio something and say, hey, Shane,
you look like
Shane, you look like you feel threatened and you're puffing up.
But like I really I remember when we were gonna do that, I was like, fuck yes, I'm gonna be able to take my shirt off. And like, yeah, I was
show the world.
I was like,
show the
fucking,
world.
You know, I'm fucking. Of course, I was a little bit slimmer, and like, I had a fucking 6-pack, and like, you know, it was a lot of work I put into having a 6. People don't understand how hard I was 8% body fat. People don't understand how hard that shit really is.
Yeah, you starve yourself.
Yeah, you're fucking miserable. So like, I had one chance to show it off for the entire world.
And me, I was showing everybody my carb overload shit. Apparently.
So,
good God.
What's the fucking point? So, you know, I had one chance to show the world that I was dedicated.
You had one shot, one opportunity.
And I squandered it. And now I'm a misogynist and everybody hates me.
Yeah. It's like, we're not showing the 6-pack of a misogynist, okay? Yeah. You can go F yourself. But anyway, that was a 28 days haunted, like, detour.
Yep.
But let's talk about this real quick. You know, this episode will be a little longer than some of our others, but screw it. It's cool. All right. So have you ever heard of Jeff, the talking mongoose? Have you ever heard of this
I
case?
really feel like I have heard of Jeff.
I've never heard of this.
Interesting stuff. Okay. So the story goes that back in 1931, the Irving family, who lived on a farm on the Isle of Man, claimed to hear scratching, rustling, and vocal noises behind their farmhouse's wooden wall panels. And then they claimed that a creature named Jeff, and it's G-E-F.
My name is Jeff.
So a creature named Jeff introduced itself and told them it was a mongoose born in New Delhi, India in 1852. The Irving's daughter, Voirrey, I guess that's her name, Voirrey. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Whatever. Voirrey. It's close enough.
I'm not going to correct you because
yeah, it's a weird name. It's a weird name. And plus, we'd be on a tangent forever because of my pronunciations. So the Irving's daughter, Veray, claimed that Jeff was the size of a small rat with a yellowish fur and a large bushy tail. Kind of looked like Josh, I guess.
I say, why did you, if they said it was a mongoose, then it's a fucking mongoose. You don't have to describe. You don't have to describe a mongoose. People know. But to be fair, there's somebody that I work with that didn't know that a mongoose was an animal. He thought it was just a fucking bicycle. So I had like a whole.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
He didn't know as much because we're gonna take a poll, and everybody, when you hear this episode, I want you to comment on all social media. Have you, or has your children, or has anybody in your family heard the story of Riki Tiki Tavi? It was a book that we all read. Apparently, I thought it was some Mandela shit because, nobody else. You've never heard of Riki?
I've heard of it.
Riki Tiki Tavi. He was the fucking mongoose, and there was it was written by Rudyard Kipling, the same guy that wrote the Jungle Book. He wrote Riki Tiki Tavi. Yeah, man. We all read it. We watched the movie and everything in school. I don't know. Apparently,
there's a movie too?
Yeah.
Wait, is that a Mandela effect?
No, there's no way because I don't know.
That can't be because I know it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We need to do a Mandela effect.
Oh man, that's good. That's
but yeah. So if you've ever heard of Riki Tiki Tavi, let me know. Find me on Instagram and fucking validate
Ray Causey.
Yeah, the Causey way.
Yep, there you go.
Find me.
Yep. But yeah, I've heard of it. So if it is Mandela effect, I'm confused as shit.
So I had I was getting heated at work about this. I was like,
no, I've heard it. Yeah.
It's a fucking mongoose.
Yeah.
But these people didn't even know what a mongoose was.
Yeah. That's sad. That's true. That's sad. All right. So again, according to the Irvings, Jeff communicated to them that he was an extra clever mongoose, an earthbound spirit, and a ghost in the form of a mongoose. The Irvings made various claims about Jeff, like how he guarded their house and informed them of an approach of guests or an unfamiliar dog. They even claimed that Jeff would go down and stop the stove if someone had forgotten to put out the fire at night. So he's like a guardian mongoose.
I need one of these.
What year was this?
1930s. It's in the 1930s.
Was this in America?
God, asking me all these questions. The Isle of Man.
Okay.
Family living in the Isle of Man. All right. So now the story gained a lot of attention in the tabloids, of course. The tabloid press in Britain. So it's Britain.
So you said it was the 1930s?
Early 1930s, yeah.
About the same time LSD came out. Good to know.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Yep. And it even caught the attention of some paranormal investigators like Harry Price. Yeah, all of us know that. Any paranormal investigator knows of Harry Price, right? But not everyone was convinced. Go figure. Some investigators of the era, as well as contemporary critics, concluded that the phenomenon was a hoax perpetuated by the Irving family using ventriloquism.
On the mongoose?
On a mongoose?
Yeah. I mean,
live mongoose?
I guess if you pop it up from the table, you know.
but it was alive. Like, but they stick there.
No, well, to people, they thought it was alive.
Okay.
Think about it. Ventriloquism.
I mean, I understand, but I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
People, let me tell you something, man. There's some gullible folks back there if that's how this was done.
Well, I mean, and during those times, too, there was things like table tipping and all this other stuff that some people could fake. And you know, so it's amazing. It's very possible that it was a hoax, of course. I mean, a talking mongoose. But then you go back to biblical time.
Right. Talk to a bush.
Yeah. Well,
there's a difference.
A talking donkey.
Yeah.
A talking ass.
We have plenty of those these days.
Yeah. A talking ass in the Bible. I mean,
yeah.
So there are stories dating further back about this stuff. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, even the serpent, like the serpent in the garden, you know, talking and saying, "Hey, eat of this fruit." I mean,
don't you want an apple?
Fruit boy. And that's probably one of the earliest versions that's recorded, that was documented, the biblical account, like the serpent. It makes you wonder, where did all of that come from? Was there a level of truth to that, to some capacity? I mean, it's weird, but you know, anyway. So some residents of the Isle of Man claimed that the Irvings had colluded to perpetuate the hoax, with some even catching Vorey, which the daughter, making noises, and her father trying to convince them that the sound came from somewhere else. And when Harry Price investigated, he found double walls of wooden paneling covering the interior rooms of the old stone farmhouse, which featured considerable interior airspace between stone and wood walls that makes the whole house one great speaking tube with walls like soundboards. That was his words. So what do you think? Was Jeff a real talking mongoose or just a hoax perpetuated by the Irving family?
All right. So did they make any money off of it?
That's a good point. You need to look that up because I did not get that far.
The other thing is, was there any other like encounters? Did anybody else come and see the talking mongoose? Like literally right there.
Well, yeah, they had guests. It said there were guests that would come and
But did they actually see?
Yeah, that would hear the mongoose talking, hear the voice of the mongoose.
I mean,
which was Jeff.
I feel like my gut already thinks that it's fake, obviously.
Yeah, hoax, yeah.
However, I still feel like, how do you come in contact with a mongoose and still think that it is talking? Like, in what way can you even realistically fake that?
Well, it depends on the environment and the setting too. Like,
remember,
I
can't put myself I can't picture myself being in those people's shoes, and either the mongoose is talking or it isn't. To me,
well, yeah, but
I don't.
What is our motto? Kind of like with searchers, do you believe? Right?
Yeah.
So if somebody believes enough, they will believe things that seem impossible. Like back during that era and during that time too, there were seances. Remember, and there were a lot that were hoaxes where they would have very dim rooms.
Yeah.
And they would do things with the tables, like the table tipping.
Families come in and
so
pay large sums of money.
So depending on the environment of this family, the setting that they would have guests come and see the talking mongoose, it is possible that they could have fooled a lot of people into believing something.
So apparently they did not ever make a profit from Jeff's existence, and the farm was eventually sold at a loss due to its...
Really?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So they didn't try to profit.
Right.
They just believed it. But again, we go back to what we've talked about before on previous episodes, that belief doesn't constitute fact.
True.
For sure.
Like, we can believe 100% that something is true.
But the thing is like at some point, if you believe it,
it's true to you.
Then it doesn't matter what anybody else.
Yeah, you know that.
People who are abducted by aliens believe they were abducted by aliens, and they have all the proof they need.
And if you're like a scientist or whatever, that phenomenon in itself, the fact that somebody can believe something, therefore making it real to them, should really be explored a little bit to understand the human behavior and how it really does affect the reality around us.
Because it's no different than what we do. Like,
absolutely,
we do not do investigations. We do not do any of this to prove or not prove the existence of the paranormal, because at this point in time, you either believe in it or you don't.
Yeah.
Nothing we find, nothing we
is
do
ever going to change that.
Nothing short of full-bodied apparition on camera. And even then, even when you do find that,
it can be picked apart.
Right. People are going to be skeptical. I mean, there's thousands of pictures, thousands of videos out there of full-bodied apparitions and shit like that are just drugged through the mud. So, like, at some point, you have to stop spending your time trying to decipher whether it's real or not real and just go based on the body of evidence. And, like, if you believe, you'll feel a certain way. If you don't believe, you'll feel a different way.
Well, and going off eyewitness accounts, too. That's why a lot of people believe in the biblical accounts, because there were eyewitnesses. There were people that said, hey, yes, this happened, and it was more than one person that said it.
And
So
nobody can
that's where they base
discredit
it on.
what you saw. Like
Right.
the things that we've
That's
seen,
the thing is
like us in the basement of a place that shall not be named when there was a disembodied laugh.
Oh yeah,
We have it
bro.
that was 100%.
100
Man.
because
To us, it's real.
yeah,
It
because
happened.
I reacted real time and then we
I mean,
picked
we
it
were on
up
a live
later.
stream when it happened.
I had a buddy of mine that is a skeptic join us,
yeah.
and he watched the entire thing and was made a believer
Yeah.
from that night. He still asked me, when are we going again?
Dude, think about Bobby and Dine's media at Sweet Springs.
Yeah.
Never filmed that stuff before,
Uh,
and then they instantly became a believer because
Yeah.
of what was happening.
Bobby
Yeah.
ended up being a main character.
Yeah, for
By the
sure.
end,
Bobby
of it.
was terrified as shit
Yeah.
because he called out some things
And then got.
Then he
got
realized
quick.
that there may be more
Yeah.
to it than what he thought, and yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the belief in something is something that you can't take away from people.
Right.
But we have to have a critical mind to
For
a
sure.
degree.
I guess. But think about that, right? Think about you know even the biblical stuff. Somebody saw it or witnessed it, and therefore wrote about it.
Well, the thing
We
is
don't really know what truly happened, but look at how that has shaped the whole
Everything.
rest of
True.
our time.
For all we
and
know,
the whole
in-
rest of the world.
in another 2,000 years, people could be saying that Jeff the Talking Mongoose was
God.
a prophet.
yeah,
of
I mean,
God.
you just don't know
I mean,
how things are going to end up.
because that's just the way. I mean, I always made this like thing where it's like, okay, if I buried like, we don't do it anymore, but like when you used to buy CDs from the store and they had lyric books in
What's
them.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to have lyric books. I was like, oh, I'm going to bury the lyric book for like every
Dude,
time I
yeah,
die.
dude, like 2,000 years
And then
later,
2000, they're going to worship. There's going to be the church of ETID, like,
yeah, because they find these mysterious words in the ground.
and they're like, oh my God,
Isn't
this
that
is,
bizarre, man?
you know?
It's so weird. This is why I love what we do, because
It is. It's
there's
so crazy.
there's every time we dig into something, especially even something as weird as a talking mongoose, right? We go down these rabbit holes where there's more questions
Right.
of, okay, well, what about this? Or if this is true, then can this be true? And
This whole
it's
spider web effect.
that's
Like,
exactly what it is.
Anything could be real.
Yeah.
And if you think of anything you think of, then it claims a life of its own is what really happens in the world.
Well, and again, we've talked about this before with tulpas and like thought forms.
Everything gets.
And could God be a thought form? Could millions of people believing in a God, could he be a thought form? And could
Right.
that be what fuels everything else? Could
does
what
it
we
make
believe
it less real?
Yeah.
Is the real
right? Does it make it real because we believe it?
exactly?
Which is even
Crazier.
stranger.
But,
Ju-
but again, going back to the Bible, it does make it real, right? Because then you build a whole society and a whole religion and culture based off of things that were written by other people.
Yeah,
And
Well,
not only that, but you're talking about things that were written thousands of years after they were orally told numerous
It's
times.
amazing,
It's
Well, and even from a scientific standpoint, how many people there's been cases where people have been given the wrong diagnosis,
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
and they end up dying from that diagnosis, and then after their death,
They
come
realize
to find out that they were completely healthy, but because they believed so strongly that they were ill, that
Yeah, I mean,
became,
look at how
that
many
became a
times-
reality.
Yeah, look
to
how many
them.
times somebody's given like 6 months to live and they die like 2 weeks later, and
Yeah,
they
you
were
see that a lot of.
Well, that happened with my uncle.
they
Yeah.
just let go.
He went in for a clean bill of health. He was in his early 60s, something like that. And he ran all the time, was in great tip-top shape. And he went for a routine checkup. They told him he had lung cancer. And it was terminal.
yeah,
2 weeks later, dead.
That's kind of what I
That-
was going to say.
it's
You
like,
see it a lot in
What if he
cancer
never
patients.
went to the
Mhm.
doctor? What if he
Yeah.
never went to the doctor? Would he still be alive?
It's likely he would have lived
I mean-
longer, I would say.
right.
I mean, cancer is cancer. So I think at some point,
It'll
left
get you.
untreated, it will get you. But to that credit, not knowing about it ahead of time will probably make you live longer, because not a lot of people can really take that information of, hey, you got 2 weeks to live,
And process
or
it. And,
there's a 90% chance you'll or you'll die.
Well, and y'all know
and
how
process it to
my
live.
brain works. Like it'd be 30 minutes later, and I'm checked out.
Now there
you
are
know?
some people out there that can take that and just like, well, I don't care what you're telling me.
I'm gonna fight.
Right,
I'm
and
gonna
wh-
be
and
fine.
what-
they
and what-
do.
and
They
what-
end up doing
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I'm saying. Like if you believe something strong enough, it's a reality, which
Right.
changes the whole game of what we do.
Oh, absolutely.
If you
Yeah.
believe that a ghost visited you so much, like the previous podcast that we talked about before, with the mother saying that her daughter came and told
Right.
her that she was murdered.
Yeah.
She believed it so much that she went
It
in
worked
front of
out
a
for
court,
her.
and it worked out for her.
That's why I'm hoping that if I believe I'm gonna get abducted,
That you're going to get
maybe I will.
probed. You're going to get probed.
It's likely. It's more likely.
Yeah, come on.
You know, that's the whole paradox of the situation, though, which really makes what is fact cloudy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. What is fact?
What is fact?
Right.
Just
in that
because we haven't
scenario.
researched it and put a label on it doesn't mean it isn't necessarily fact. You look at the things that we have learned as humans now versus even 100 years ago, they're night and day. I mean,
Right.
the things that people can medically do today would look like magic to people 100 years ago.
Yeah. Or
True.
you'd be a witch.
Or you'd be a witch.
And
Exactly.
burn
They
at
would
the
kill
stake.
you. They
Yeah.
would straight up kill you. 90% of the stuff we do today would get you murdered 100 to 150 years ago.
This
Isn't that wild?
having a cell phone.
Well, it's
that
like
can literally look up anything.
yeah, it's like I always say, man. Imagine if you were to go back in time and tell like Nikola Tesla or fucking Albert Einstein that you had any information you needed at the tip of your fingers and you used it to talk shit on Twitter.
Hell, you could have told me that when I was little. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you from learning a new language
No,
today.
it literally isn't.
There's nothing stopping you from doing anything except the fact that you would rather look at cat videos and look at people
Agreed.
do dumbass shit on TikTok.
that's
all day.
true. I mean, there's
I really do wanna do all of that.
there's a wealth of knowledge at our fingertips, and a lot of us are too lazy.
There's
to take
absolutely no
advantage of it.
reason that anybody should not know
Yeah.
whatever they want to know.
Yeah.
There's a plethora of free information for everything. So anything that you don't know right now that you wanted to learn, you're actively not learning it on your own.
I mean, the internet is
Being
wild.
willfully
willfully
ignorant.
Think
Yep.
about it, bro. We didn't have the internet when we were kids.
No, middle school internet wasn't a thing.
We hardly had computers.
yeah.
No,
Now we
I
have
remember dial-up.
We have
Oregon
one that
Trail.
we're like upset about now when it's not hooked up to the internet. We're like,
Right.
how could this be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have GPS.
What
Like
a-
I remember
And
having to
now
read a
MapQuest.
map.
Now you don't even
Yeah.
have to have an external GPS. It's just your phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's
Blows my
insane.
mind, man.
Well, this was a longer episode, but again, thank you so
Crazy.
much for joining us. And until the next one, we'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Goodbye.